No, that title's not actually clickbait. I actually did trade in my 17 Pro Max for the regular 17. I have it right here. So let's talk about why I did that. But first, if you're new here to my channel, welcome. Here we talk about all things technology related, so if you're into that sort of thing, be sure to hit subscribe down below. Also, hi Grandma, I know you watch these videos. Thank you so much. And this video is actually sponsored by me. You can actually become a member of the channel by clicking join down below. This helps with a monthly contribution to the channel to make sure that I can keep putting out high quality content like this for you guys. So I appreciate you doing that. It also gives you highlighted comments and responses if you're into that sort of thing. Okay, but let's talk about the actual reason why you're here, why I swapped the 17 Pro for the regular 17. It really came down to two, maybe three different reasons that we're going to talk about here. The first reason, first and foremost, was honestly the size of the Pro Max. For the first couple days, yeah, it's a very novel experience to have such a humongous phone, and it's nice to have the big bright screen. It's nice for viewing content. It's nice for playing games, stuff like that. But after a few days of living with the thing, it really got cumbersome and really got old. So actually something I do on the side is I detail cars here locally. That's just a side hustle that I do, and I'm constantly in and out of vehicles. And I noticed that day after day, like especially stepping up into trucks, my leg could not bend because the phone was in my pocket. And I finally hit a point where I'm just like, I'm done with this device. I can't use it one-handed comfortably. I can't even step and do things like get in and out of a vehicle properly. Like, I'm just done with the thing. And so that's kind of what led me to pursue looking at just going back to a regular Pro. And that was my intention, was to just go back to a regular 17 Pro. So how did I end up with the regular 17? And that's the second point that I want to talk about is price. For me, I had the 17 Pro Max in 512 gigs, and that's $1,500 for a phone. And by the time taxes come out and everything, you're at $1,600. And it kind of hit me. My wife and I were talking about it. I'm like, wait a minute. For $1,600, I could get two regular base model 17s. Like, is the Pro Max worth 2 times what this is? The answer is no. It's really not. But it just made sense for us in the moment. She was still on a 13 mini with 78% battery health. And so that thing was really on its last leg. She had to keep it on the charger most of the day. Otherwise, it would just be dying constantly. It was getting slow. It was getting laggy. She's due for an upgrade. And so I got to thinking about it and looking at it. And I'm like, you know what? We could actually just go trade your 13 mini in, take the return credit from the 17 Pro Max because it was still in the return period, trade in the 13 mini, and let's just buy 2 regular 17s. I'm fine with downgrading, quote unquote, to a regular 17 from the Pro Max. And so that's what we did. We took the mini, we took the Pro Max, we went into the Apple store, got it all traded, and I walked away with 2 brand new 17s at the base model. And so my wife got the lavender color and I got the sage green color. And honestly, I couldn't be happier with it. At first, I was gonna go and get the upgraded 512 gigs of internal memory because I like to have that extra space, especially for shooting videos and B-roll, but discovered that Apple has a $200 upcharge. So it turns this $799 iPhone into a $999 iPhone. And at that point, you're only $100 away from the Pro, and that's how they get you, right? That's how they get you. That's how the pricing ladder increases. And so I said, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm just getting the base model at 256 gigs. And that's what my wife has as well. And we couldn't be happier. And so essentially for the price of 1 Pro Max device, we have 2 17s. And to be honest, I think this is the best bang for buck iPhone that has been released probably ever. So for me, I've always been in this weird kind of predicament the last few years. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you may have picked up on it, where I appreciate many of the things that the Pro brings to the table, but I also equally dislike many of the things that the Pro brings to the table. Specifically, I love the size and the weight and the compact form factor of the base model phones or the budget phones like the 16E. I've been using that for a while. I've been a 13 mini and a 12 mini user. I like just a small, lightweight device. And so this covers that. It's very light. It's very small. It's excellent in that regard. So it feels like you're holding essentially nothing. It's not an Air. It's not a mini. But for a regular size iPhone, it feels just right. It's very balanced in the hand. You compare that with something like the Pro devices of the last few years, which have just heavier hardware and more cameras on the top, and they begin to feel like they're going to tip out of your hand, especially with bigger batteries. They are just heavier, clunkier, bulkier devices to use. And so this, feeling like as light as a feather, is a good thing, but that's not anything new. If you wanted that, you could get that in the 16, in the 15, in the 14, and so on, or in the minis, or in the 16E, right? If you want a light phone, that's not anything new. The difference is having a light phone that feels like the Pro phone. When you're looking at the screen and using it day to day, the feeling is awesome. And you know I'm talking about the 120 hertz. You're either somebody that sees it or you don't. My wife is somebody that does not. We sat there and I tried to show her in all these different tests and all these different videos, and she does not see it. I even used a slow motion camera to show her the choppy frame rate of the 60 hertz versus the 120. And yeah, she admits she can see it at slow motion, but just day-to-day use to the naked eye, she doesn't see it. And so you're either somebody that sees it or you don't. You appreciate it or you don't. I am somebody that does. And so using a 60 hertz device, while I can live with it, it's not necessarily my favorite thing. And so having 120 hertz in this small, slim, light form factor immediately was like a switch in the brain. Like, wow, I like this. This makes sense a lot. Not to mention the screen is amazing on this phone. The Pros were always my go-to because I could actually see them outside. I do a lot of work outside. I do drone work outside. I always struggled to see my screen when using something like a base model or the 16E, especially if I was wearing sunglasses out here in the Colorado sun. It is a struggle to see a screen on a device. And so the Pros were always my go-to because it just fixed that. But now this, having the exact same screen as the Pros with that good brightness, it fixes it, and I love it. And so what am I giving up by going back to a regular base model 17 as opposed to a Pro? Well, it's a lot less than I would have given up a year ago, because had I made this switch a year ago and just gone to a regular 16 or even back to the 16E, you would get 60 hertz. You would get lesser quality cameras. You would get lesser quality processors, right? And so this year, like, this honestly feels like a Pro device packaged in a base model iPhone. It's like the best hardware and the best software and just the overall best experience in the best form factor possible. And I love it. And so really the only thing I'm giving up is that third camera lens. I know that there's many other things like the unibody design and the vapor chamber cooling and all that stuff from the Pro models that you would be getting otherwise. But for day-to-day use, for calls, texts, using it as a phone, like, it's honestly perfect. It's great, and I love it. Do I miss having that telephoto capability? Yes, sure, sometimes I do. But for me, the sacrifice of the weight savings while still also feeling like when I'm looking at the phone screen and just using it day to day, my brain does not recognize and realize that it's not a Pro device. And I think that's probably bigger and worth more to me than having that third camera lens if and when I was ever going to use it. Because to be honest, I didn't use it a ton, and when I did, it felt like a compromise. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. But yeah, day to day living with the two camera lenses has honestly been just fine. I would rather have an ultra wide. I missed that more often when using the 16E than I did the telephoto. It's close, but the ultra wide wins definitely for me, hands down. And so what do I mean talking about intentionality with the third camera lens? Well, I recently took a trip with a family to the Grand Canyon, and I did not bring my real professional camera, the one that's actually filming right here, my Sony a7 IV. I did not bring it because I thought, hey, I have the new iPhone. I can shoot raw photos. I can shoot raw video. I'll just edit and treat my phone like a real camera, and it'll be all hunky-dory, right? Well, kind of. And I'll throw some photos up on screen of what I got. And I think it's definitely acceptable, and they're good quality photos. But for me, being a pixel peeper and somebody that actually enjoys high resolution and can understand and appreciate a high resolution camera, it just kind of is that soul-crushing medium where I paid the extra money for the Pro device, $300 more than this. I lug around a heavier iPhone. I have the extra camera lens, so I feel like I should use it and I need to use it. And so I'm paying the premium and the tax on having and owning the device. And then when the time comes when I want to actually get a solid photo that just looks really good, I am cut short on the experience that I would have had with a proper camera. You know what I mean? It's like I'm paying more and holding more and dealing with more with the tax of a device for a lesser experience than if I had actually just planned and brought my real camera. I would have had a much better experience. And so it's like, that was kind of the third point that made me switch this in my brain to go, you know what? I don't really need that third camera lens. Why would I pay more and have a heavier phone for 99% of my life just to have a crappier camera experience than when I'm actually serious about taking photos and creating memories and getting a high quality shot? I would just use my real camera. And so the point I'm trying to make here with this, that I had to come to the realization of myself, is I need to let my camera be a camera and let my phone be a phone. And that's it. And that even spills over into the watch world. I mean, if you watch a lot of my Garmin and Apple Watch type videos, all these smart features in your watches that basically duplicate many of your phone's functionalities, it's like, let your watch be a watch, and it can have some overlap with your phone. Let your phone be a phone, which can have some overlap with your camera, and let your camera be a camera. And that's kind of where I've arrived at, is just let the tools be their best versions of themselves and don't try to force a tool to be an end all be all, because it's not going to be great. And so that's kind of where I've arrived. I'm super happy with the base model 17. I don't really feel like there's anything missing from this device. Would it be nice to have USB 3.0 speeds? Sure, but it's also not a necessity. Like, I use it as a phone first and foremost. Do I shoot some B-roll shots here and there if I think of it, or to add to a video? Yeah, but that's about it. Like I say, I let my camera be a camera, I let my phone be a phone, and this covers all the bases that I could ever need. And I've actually gone the extra step, and I have de-pro'd all of my devices. I don't have an Apple Watch Ultra anymore. I don't have a Pro iPhone. I haven't used a Pro Mac in quite a while. I don't have a Pro iPad. That'll be a whole separate video that I'm actually working on. So make sure you subscribe if you want to see that video coming soon. But all that to say, as a phone, as a device, I'm super happy with this. I'm super glad I made the switch to go from the Pro Max to the regular base model. It definitely feels like it hits that sweet spot for the price, for the features that you get. I mean, it won MKBHD's Smartphone Awards of the Year for a reason. Like, this is the best bang for buck phone you can get, period, probably right now. And it's definitely the best bang for buck iPhone you've ever been able to get. And so for me, I'm super happy. From the Pro Max to getting 2 of these, I'm happy. Done deal. I would seriously urge you to consider your needs. Do you need the Pro or not? Do you need the regular or not? For me, I'm probably about as pro of a user as Apple is trying to target with this device. I film every single day, and I still found it to be not enough when compared to my regular camera. And so for me, this 17 is just enough. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for commenting, for subscribing down below, and joining the channel. And I will see you in the next one.